Listen,
Okay.
guys, we got a problem. And I'm gonna let Devo talk about it. Devo, what you got? What were you just saying?
More than 90% of the employees in the PGMOL reside or were born in Manchester, England.
Why is that?
Not a single PGMOL employee resides in or is from London. That's a
You know,
problem.
you know what? It is what it is. You can't control where people are born. One thing you can't control is how they are working when they're an employee for you. So let's
Group
try to.
think mentality, my friend. Group think mentality, and it's been bad since Mike Riley.
You know what? Bun the
Wow.
referees. Let's try to stay away from talking about referees for at least the first half an hour, first 15 minutes. Let's get on the football. Today we're going to be doing a call-in show slash Q&A. Everything is going to be coming from you guys. Any questions or any comments, any concerns, anything you want to talk about in the comment section right now. Also, we're gonna the preview for the Man City game will be happening tomorrow. We'll have Hamza, Dabs on, Gunnar Souls, and myself. We're going to be on 10 p.m. tomorrow after the Champions League. Honestly, I don't really give a shit about the Champions League. They're playing, but the biggest game this week is going to be Arsenal Man City and Barcelona Manchester United, which is in the Europa League. No one cares about the Champions League except for those clubs. Let's be real. Gakpo scored for Liverpool. Shout out Gakpo. I think Mo Salah also scored. That's a good one. But let's get the show
Yeah.
started. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on the playback or you're watching live, make sure you get involved in the comment section and let me know how you are feeling headed to the Manchester City game. Personally, for me, I'm excited, but a little nervous. We got Liverpool fans in the chat. Oh, happy as you can see. Yes, in here, Ilyas here. We got a Man City fan in the house saying big up to you, Daniel. Let me know what's your score prediction, and if you have any questions going into that big game. We got Musa in the house saying hello. Today, I'm not going to be posting anything on the screen or anything like that. Screen sharing, none of that. We're just going to be trying to get into your comments and get into everything that needs to be said. People asking where's the link. The link will be added right now. We have Gunnar Souls in the house. We have my guy Devo, and we have my guy in the house, Saeed. He hasn't been on in a while, but welcome back, Saeed. Hope you're doing well. Big up to you guys. I'm just gonna start off by saying, first question: why are we struggling to score goals, guys? We haven't scored a goal. We barely scored against who do you call it, Everton. I mean, we didn't score against Everton, if I'm tripping.
No, 1-0.
We barely scored against Brentford. If it wasn't for Trossard, who came on and made a difference at the end, and in the FA Cup, I'm not gonna lie, it was a rotated team, but you'd expect us to at least have some attacking threat. So why are we struggling to score? Let me know.
We played against two teams that employed an extreme low block. I mean, if you want to talk about what Sean Dyche and Everton did, and you want to talk about what Brentford did, there was times where we were literally watching 11 players behind the midfield stripe for them, with them just asking us to come at them and us being forced into that slow horseshoe of death. I call it, where you literally just go left to right via the pass through the center with Xhaka and Partey. We just did this swinging horseshoe of death where they literally compacted to the center. Brentford has huge center backs. So when you're lumping in crosses to Eddie, I thought Eddie's runs were sometimes overlooked, but often not non-existent. We would get the ball out to the White where Ben White was looking at something, or on the other side, you'd have Martinelli or one of the outside players trying to move a ball in, and to me it just looked like they keyed in on Odegaard, so there was no service coming through the center of the pitch, and then they lumped in with 10 outfield players behind the midfield stripe. It's always going to be tough to break that down.
You know what? This comment right here, Musa, I'm gonna save it. We're gonna talk about Trossard or Martinelli or Eddie Nketiah, who should start in a bit. By the way, guys, if you guys want to become channel members, it is not free, but it's as close as possible to being free. It's £1 to become a member. It's that cheap. And in a market where today everything costs over £5, you can become a channel member for just less than £1. So go check it out, guys. We also got Brandon in the house. Saeed, I'm gonna throw it over to you before I throw it over to Gunnar Souls. And Brandon's just joining us. Brandon, when you're ready, I'll add you. Go ahead, Saeed.
I just agree with just being said right now. We played two teams. They set very deep, but at the same time we're missing Jesus in that sense. he drop down, he can link play, and he can penetrate players, and he can do runs. He can carry the ball in. So I think we missing some chemistry in up front. That's my verdict, to be honest with you. I mean, it's simple as that. Two teams with massive centre backs, and they sit very deep, and they invite you for pressure, and one of them only play on like set pieces, and we know what set pieces likes. It's a massive threat, and games won or lost or with set pieces. But at the same time, I don't think we've been really bad in defending them all season. For some reason, that last two games, and Brentford are notorious for it. Everybody knows what Brentford is with set pieces. They consider it like a project. So we just got really very bad luck with what happens with VAR. And by the way, I'm more than happy to sit down and explain what VAR is and what it does and what's the procedure behind it, and the process and procedures that how it runs. But from technology point of view, obviously that's my bread and butter. But again, it's just like I can't see anything else. We've been playing really good.
You just said it, bro. Though, would you forget to put the butter on your bread if that was your one job? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Draw the fucking lines.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
What? We're gonna talk about the referees. We're gonna talk about the referees. We're gonna try to get past 15 minutes about.
I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Without mentioning the referees before we go back. To be honest, Iga, I think we are struggling because Manchester City good out coming up on Wednesday. Not even. I'm scared of Erling Haaland. You know what? It's not about being. It's not about being
in our head or something.
It's not about being scared of Erling Haaland. We got another comment here saying, honestly, Arsenal need Gabriel Jesus back as soon as possible. I think that is a big thing too. Brendan, I'm going to come to you after I go to Gunnar Souls. Gunnar Souls, take it away. Why do you think Arsenal are struggling to score at this moment in time?
I don't think there's a simple answer to why we're struggling to create magnitude of chances. I mean, we've come across, like everyone said here, against two teams that are going to play low blocks very effectively. They've got the personnel to do it in terms of just strong, physical, big presence in centre-backs and midfield. But the reality of the answer is we sometimes need to look at the profile of players who are playing and just change it sometimes. And as good as Eddie Nketiah has been, I'm not even going to say he's my scapegoat, but he's one of those players who suits certain teams. When teams are coming onto us or allow us space in behind, that's where Eddie Nketiah thrives. But when you're going to play a low block, you need someone in the mold of a Gabriel Jesus, someone who could come in deep, draw centre-backs to him, and just make the game awkward. Draw your players out, make the movements that are going to make it hard to predict what you're going to do. The problem with Nketiah is he loves the central zones and he will stick to it regardless of whether it's the right or wrong thing to do. Now, what you see with Gabriel Jesus at the earlier parts of the season is he will fill in the voids within our attack. So, for example, if Martinelli's making central runs, what does Gabriel Jesus do? He will fill in what Martinelli's missing, or the void that he's just left on the left-hand side, and vice versa with Saka as well. Whereas with Nketiah hasn't quite adopted that sort of IQ just yet. But there's also more than that. It's not just about blaming Nketiah, because we have that in Trossard. He can come in and do that sort of role that Gabriel Jesus does in a different way. Because one thing that Trossard loves doing is dropping in deep, linking play up, but also making it hard for them to do. But I also think the other thing is we've kind of gone back to last season where we've become one-side dependent, which we know Saka's going to carry and Odegaard are going to carry the majority of the attacking threat. And it's become easier for teams to read that and double up because they know not much is going to happen on the left, because unfortunately we've isolated Gabriel Martinelli with the style that Zinchenko plays in. And again, it comes to a second profile issue when certain games are going to call for a Kieran Tierney, hence why I've got a big pet peeve against certain fans saying it's time to sell Tierney. I think he's a brilliant plan B. He can change a game in an attacking facet very well. And let's look at the last two games. Do we need to congest the narrow areas when they're congesting the narrow areas?
You were
No,
saying it right.
you need to stretch.
Zinchenko going from the left to
Yeah.
the center has literally
Yeah,
cluttered
not
the pitch.
against those two teams. The thing is, Zinchenko, what he does against Man City, you'll see what he can do. But the problem that you have is when you have congested teams that want to play these low blocks in the center zones, you don't then congest it as well. You need to stretch it, make it hard, widen the pitch up. And guess who does that absolutely perfectly? I will go as far as to say the best player in the world right now at doing that, Kieran Tierney, because he's going to hug that touchline and make it so hard for defenders to just be like, let's just sit in our box. And no, because number one, he has the delivery, but also it allows Martinelli to become that player in the center zone, occupying defenders. And it makes it difficult because you're not occupying and making their lives easier by leaving their shape as it is. You're going to disrupt their shape. And that's what's going to open up that opportunity that you can go and score. And I just think that obviously overall, what I'm trying to say is Arteta needs to be a bit ballsy and go, yes, I've trusted my 11, but there's certain games and certain scenarios that call for me to change it. And that's what we now need to see. I don't think the right thing is to do it against Man City because we know what City are going to do. Regardless of how good we are, they're going to come play toe-to-toe. And that's when you can play your 11. Teams that sit back, change it. And that's my verdict on it so far.
Brendan, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. Everyone in the channel, do me a favor. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, you can become a channel member. The link is in the description on how to become a channel member. It's literally less than a pound. It's literally less than £1.10. 10 cents. Go ahead.
Just quickly, that third eye comment that he says about Arteta, I kind of agree with it. When he talks about like Arteta has been obviously charged multiple times for the antics on the touchline. I kind of agree. I think that kind of put a fire, especially when we feel down. But that's all I'll say.
You know what, Brendan, take it away. How you feeling? You still as upset as you were prior after the window?
Yeah, of course. I still don't feel like we've done enough, bro. I still don't feel like we have. But just going back to the original question, Gunnar Solskjaer is spot on, absolutely spot on. I couldn't agree more with what he said. We're so one-dimensional at the moment. The way we play, it's perfect for teams that play a low block to defend against. And I couldn't agree more than what Gunnar Solskjaer said there. When you're playing like that, the last thing you want to do is congest the middle. And we've got so many players inverting and trying to play through the middle all the time. You've got to try and do something to drag them. Like the Everton game was a perfect example, right? They've got 3 defensive-minded midfielders in the midfield, in Doucouré, Onana, and Garner Gay, right? You've got to try and drag their midfielders out wide. So the only way you're going to do that is if you create width. If you've got Martinelli isolated and you've got Saka isolated because neither of our fullbacks are overlapping and one of them's inverting, bring on Kieran Tierney. Let's just look at the last 2 games as well. How many clear-cut chances have we created against them 2 teams?
And
Not very many.
And Tomiyasu. Ben White's looked off a little bit.
One second. So are you calling Arsenal predictable?
We are predictable, bro. We are predictable. And the thing is as well, right, is it's difficult to place the blame, if that makes sense. I think it's 50-50 split down the middle. I think the manager has to do more as Sol said, but at the same time, right, we've got players like Martin Odegaard, for example, who's been absolutely excellent this season, and nobody can deny that. And if you actually look at our goals this season, 90% of our goals this season have come through Martin Odegaard. He's either been involved in terms of an assist or a pre-assist, or he's been involved in the build-up towards the goal. One thing we know about Martin Odegaard, though, is if you put somebody physical and somebody strong and somebody who's willing to hack at him a little bit, he don't want it. And that's all Everton did. That's all Brentford did as well. They put somebody a little bit physical on him and they just marked him pretty much out of the game. And it's kind of like teams have realised now that if you stop Martin Odegaard supplying, Martinelli and Saka and Nketiah, then you stop Arsenal. And if you
Okay.
stop Arsenal, you stand more of a chance of picking up points against them.
Okay, this is where we're gonna now have an open discussion. Have Mikel Arteta and Arsenal's tactics become predictable, and do we need to make some rotation to basically get rid of that predictability? For me, I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm saying, are we predictable? I don't think it's that we're predictable. I think it's the fact that the way that the teams that we've been playing against, they have been playing with low blocks, and defensively their whole game plan has just been, you know what, don't let these guys play, and they play through the wings. They don't actually play through. They don't play through the middle. So they found somewhat of a blueprint in the last 2 games. But not every team can do that. Some teams are still going to play their way. That's why the Man United game was so open, and we conceded 2 goals and we scored 3 goals, even though we dominated the majority of the game. I don't think it's a predictability thing. I think it's just different games. We need to have different horses. We need to make different rotations. We need to have different ways of attacking it. That's why in this Man City game, I want Leandro Trossard to start. But for now, let's just stay on the actual tactics, and do we think it's predictable? And let me just put the actual question on the board for everyone who needs to see it. This is the actual question. Have Arteta's tactics become too predictable with no rotation? That is my point. And I'm going to start with you, Devo.
With
But everyone just chime in. I want it to be a normal discussion.
last 2 matches that we both, everybody on this panel, if you would have asked us, from Everton and Brentford, is it likely that we're to take 4 to 6 points? Every single one of us would have said yes. Every single one of us. Everton away is always a tough match for us. Brentford has been playing out of their skin so far this season, but likely we should have taken points from those matches, and we all feel cheated that we didn't get the 3 from this. Do I think that we're predictable? Yes, but at the same point in time, we scored off of taking the ball wide and crossing it in, and it was a momentary lapse. And those moments take time, but we do need to have some rotation. I want to see Jakub Kiwior. That kid is posting records on the training pitch. I wasn't as enamored with the Jorginho signing as some, and I didn't hate it as most because I thought that his value really is going to be brought on the training pitch for our youth. Being a Champions League winner and a league winner, I think that his value is more in the subtle nuance to the Miguel Azizes and the kids, the Charlie Patinos that we have coming through the ranks. Are we predictable? Yes. Do we need change up? Yes. I want to know what's wrong with Ben White. There's just something wrong with him internally. I'm not saying he's playing poorly. I'm just saying if you look at Ben White from the beginning of the season versus Ben White right now, he's not making overlapping runs. He's not going in hard to challenges like he used to. And since he came back from the World Cup, there's just something off about him. I want to see more of Tomiyasu because I think he's just an out-and-out monster defender. I want to see Kiwior, and I want everybody to be honest with themselves and admit the fact that that was the worst match we've ever seen William Saliba play in an Arsenal kit. He lost 12 out of 13 aerial battles against Ivan Toney.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen Van Dijk get bossed by Ivan Toney.
I'm not saying
but we can admit that both.
I can admit that he had a poor game, but some of the people
and the first time that Toney put the ball off of the woodwork, it was Saliba's lazy track back. If you look, he turns around and it's almost a look on his face of, oh shit, like. There's a tiredness in this team that I see right now, and it's post World Cup.
Hey, I exactly just what you just said there, and this is why I have big problems with what we did in January, because I personally don't feel like we've done enough. We should have been prepared for these scenarios, right? Because I didn't realise this the other day, but then when I really sat there and thought about it, I know a gal, Deji, Spurs, and he pointed this out to me, right? And he's absolutely spot on. Up until this point, or up until the Everton game, Arsenal haven't had a sticky patch of form. Like every single team goes through a bit of a bad patch of form. Up until Everton, Arsenal hadn't had that. And January was the prime time for us to strengthen our position, to get the players in that we need. I mean, for me, the Thomas Partey position was always a priority going into that window anyway. Right. But we also, I think, needed a striker that could offer us something different because Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus play in very similar ways. And we didn't get enough business done for me. And now we're starting to see, right, these players like your Sakas, like your Martinellis, like your Thomas Partey's even, are not showing the same vein of form that they was showing because of maybe a little bit of tiredness and you know, you've got to prepare for these scenarios.
I'll
Every
be
team
honest,
goes through it.
I think it's deeper than that. I think, and look, I've not questioned the mentality of this club, and I think we're moving in the right direction. But you know, there's one element we haven't done is being. I don't want to use the word drop, but rotate these players. Now we've got to look. I agree to a degree that we didn't do enough in January, but I think we filled the positions as best we kind of could. But the problem is Ben White. For me, if you ask me, I think Ben White's comfortable. He knows he's not going to get dropped, and that's the problem. There's got to be an element of, right, okay, you're going through a bit of bad patch. Tomiyasu, you're right in there. You're now going to play. Once he holds that bench, look at Garnacho. Not even Garnacho. Who's the best example to give? I can't remember United. I think Ten Hag put someone onto the bench. The very next game was one of the best players like on that game, and
like
we
Sancho.
sometimes need to do. Sancho, but he went on this training camp thing and all of that.
I think it was Rashford actually. I think he dropped him because he was late for training. He come on.
Then he comes on and scores. Yeah. So we need to do that sort of thing. I know it's different because it's discipline and one is like just performances.
I know.
But
I know,
that's
guys,
what I think.
You know, we can sit all day and say those guys are getting tired or getting comfortable or getting whatever. It's all about the depth of the squad. Okay, if you don't have enough depth, you don't have enough quality in the depths of the squad in order to rotate. Okay, you have a good 14, 15 players, and that's what you've been playing them whole season. This is the reality. All right.
Can I also throw out another scenario as well? Right, it's ironic how our bad patch of form has kind of lined up with, like, if you listen to like pundits and stuff like that at the beginning of the season, even like just before the World Cup, even just after the World Cup, a lot of them were very adamant that Arsenal would not win the league. There was fans even saying Arsenal will not win the league. And then all of a sudden, Manchester City obviously went on their bad run of form and they lost to Tottenham. And then we become the favourites to win the league. And all of a sudden, we start hit a bad patch of form. Could it also be that the pressure that is now on these players' shoulders, being the favourites, is kind of what's affecting us as well? Because we see that as well last season. We was favourites to get top four and we ended up finishing fifth.
I don't think this is a pressure thing. Reason being, we've been under pressure the whole entire season pretty much. Let's be honest. We've been under pressure from minute one. Understand, Brendan, we have not spent one calendar week second. We've been first the whole season. We've gone from first to first the whole season. So what a shame, right? What
I'm saying though, Gail, is we've never been the favourites. That's the thing.
No,
so you can kind of take it week by week. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the players are not it's not the same pressure when you're the favourites.
I honestly don't think they are just looking at Man City's result versus Spurs and saying, "Oh my God, now I'm worried we're actually favorites." No, it's not that deep. I think it's more about the fact that Everton was the first team that was giving people a strict blueprint on how to play us. What happened was Brentford then followed that blueprint, and it's now on us to change it up. As you said, we might be predictable. It's not that we're predictable. It's that teams know if they defensively shut us down and they play through their wings, that we will not get anything from the midfield. Because midfield wise, teams are not going to try to beat us through the midfield. They always try to beat us through the wings.
I don't disagree with anything that's being said, but I want everybody to admit to them, and everybody that's in the stream, admit to yourselves, we are overachieving this season.
Wait, stop.
We are overachieving this season.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. Don't say you're happy with second.
I'm not saying about anything, but everybody needs to understand that Arsenal in first place, being on 51 points, where we are right now, was not expected. Nobody in their right. It's like they said last night in the Super Bowl. Like, nobody picked the Chiefs at the beginning of the season. So where we are right now, these players are in rarefied air and they're having to deal with it. And none of them have, with the exception of Gabriel Jesus, who's injured, and Zinchenko.
And Jorginho, who's won a trophy.
Jorginho, who's brand new to the
adding to that, I think one of the biggest.
Let me just say, big up Sean in the chat, big up Thunder Roads in the house. We even have Liverpool fans dropping in saying hi. We had Diego Jota coming in just saying he wanted to drop a like. We had another Liverpool fan here saying big up Iga, watching your live earlier. City is beatable for Arsenal. Yeah, City is definitely beatable. We can stop them. It's just how we're gonna stop them. That's the question. And then Gunnar Solskjaer, you're gonna say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the other thing is there's a little bit of an overreaction because we've had a bit of bad form in the space of 2 games, whereas a lot of league title winning teams tend to have this patch of form over the season. So we're just unfortunate in that situation where we've also got to understand that was our first loss in September and we didn't lose to Brentford. So, and also City look just as vulnerable to lose and drop points as we do. So that's where my hope comes from. Of course, Wednesday's going to be a big test.
Because our 2 wins were United and Spurs. Our 2 draws were Newcastle and Brentford. Our loss was Everton. Now, if you're going 2-2-1 and I throw those teams out to you and we just say, no scores attached, you'd kind of be okay with that because your losses could have been United and Spurs. It's just that we lost to Everton, which really digs at you, and the way that we gave up points to Brentford. Newcastle, they sat in a block. I expect that. They're a top 4 team this season. Brentford, we should have beat, and we feel stolen from. Everton, we should have destroyed, and we played poorly.
You know what?
Don't forget, City couldn't score against Crystal Palace last season at all.
That's true. And you know what? Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to bring in M. How you doing? You there, bro?
I'm good, bro. Big up everyone.
Talk to me. We're just talking about the team being a little predictable.
I am.
What up, M?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, big up, bro. I've seen everyone kind of getting onto Arteta over the few days. I think on the game against Brentford, I think Arteta done what he could, as in he looked at the bench, brought on our only attacking option in Trossard, and we go 1-0 up. Despite all the chances Brentford had, despite that we didn't look good in the first half, we still went a goal ahead. I look at the players and blame the players for not being able to see out the game. Now, I know there's a VAR decision that probably could cost us, but we had the chance to really see out that game. The ball bounced in the box about 5-6 times, and I blame the players for not being able to see out the game, to be honest. I don't think Arteta's tactics are predictable, to be honest. I think he's doing what has worked for him over the last few games, which is overload the midfield and attack teams. So I don't think he should change anything, to be honest.
Fair enough. We're now going to talk about disgrace with VAR and what do we do to fix VAR? Because the incompetence off the pitch and on the pitch is costing people in their pockets, in the points on the board, potential title races. It's costing people their livelihood potentially. Simple mistakes. How on earth do the PGML apologize that a referee hasn't done their job? Like, you have to do more. You have to punish him. You have to find some. I'm not here to call for people to be sacked, but at least
I am. I'm here for Lee Mason's got to go. Lee Mason's got to go like yesterday. I'm sorry, that dude's got 6 confirmed errors as the VAR head this season. 2 on Saturday, 6 this season, 3 against us. Sorry, Southampton, Man United, Brentford, you got to fucking go. You cannot be refereeing my team. You're Mike Dean against Spurs. You cannot referee Arsenal matches. You are biased. Your finances need to be investigated. You are corrupted. Every other match, you took so long to find the build-up play for the foul against Odegaard on Eriksen against Man United, but you forget to draw the fucking lines against Brentford? What is there's no consistency. The PGMOL is garbage. Howard Webb is a double-speaking Mancunian. I don't give a shit what he has to say. If it doesn't involve Lee Mason, you're fired. And honestly, they made Arsenal come back to the pitch for a throw-in substitution violation where a game had to be replayed. You can start this match at 1-0 with a free kick in the 87th minute. Play it behind closed doors.
Wow, I didn't expect you to say that. Anyone agree?
There's too much on the line, man. If two
I agree.
I would go a step further. I think VAR should be scrapped. And the reason I say that is because VAR was brought in to make a definitive decision on things like offsides and stuff like that. But yet, even though they've got the technology, they're still failing to get it correct. We see how many errors there was this weekend alone. What's the point in having the technology if the referees and and the people in charge of it are not going to use it correctly. You're better off just going back to having, normal football matches like we used to have, decisions that can go either way. It goes for teams sometimes, it goes against teams sometimes. That's how football, we used to football being played. Keep goal line technology, because goal line technology,
What about
it is
offside?
definitive.
Right?
But-
Can I have few points.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second. We have a special guest. If you guys don't know Sean is my guy. Sean, how you doing, man?
Hey,
Sean, how you feeling, man?
Hi.
How you feeling about the weekends and the disgraced VAR decision?
Oh,
Oh, we
we
lost
lost
him.
Sean.
Sean's a good guy, man.
Good to see you.
Everyone in the chat, show some love to Sean. You guys can call in as you guys want. Also, I'm
Love
gonna
you,
go to you. I'm gonna go to you in a second, Saeed. I'm just gonna say this, Brendan. This is my theory. We don't scrap VAR. We bring in the same thing that they have in the Champions League, which is the semi-automatic technology, where you don't need a person to draw the lines, and it just basically shows you a digital image, and it shows you the line based on a wall, and then you bring it in, and it's semi-automatic, no issues, no VAR lines, nothing. This is not human made. This is a computer doing it, and you can't mess it up.
So my question then.
One second. That's one part, and the second part, introduce NFL style challenge plays where the manager can say, I call bullshit on that call, and I need you to overcheck it one more time thoroughly.
Is that like the cricket decision thing?
Yes, you get one per match, and if you get that one right, you get a second. But if you don't,
my question then, Miguel, is if the technology is different in the Champions League,
and the World Cup.
Yet the Premier League is the biggest league in the world, the most richest league in the world. Why don't we have that technology in the Premier League already?
Testing La Liga first.
It's being tested this year.
It's
But
being
wasn't it
tested
also
in La
used in the
Liga.
World Cup though too?
Yeah, they use it at FIFA competition.
And we're in a situation, to answer your question. We're in a situation
I really
I'm
want
so
to.
sorry, Saeed.
Go ahead, Saeed.
Let me just go to Sean quickly, and then we'll come back to you. Sean, talk to me. VAR, how'd you feel?
bored.
Bored of VAR.
Yep.
So what are you gonna do to fix it?
Oh,
Get rid of it.
to get more decisions. I saw the free kick when Brentford scored.
Okay. And do you think we're gonna beat Manchester City, Sean?
Oh, I don't know.
Give us
Too
your
hard.
score prediction, Sean. What's the score going to be on Wednesday?
0-0. I bought this in London.
Thank you, Sean. Big up. Hopefully you enjoy the game. Hopefully you enjoy London, Sean. Okay.
See ya.
Bye, Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
Big up.
Hey, take it away, brother.
You take it away, man.
Right. To start off with, okay, to do anything in business, in life, in whatever you want to do, you have three things to get it right. Okay, you have the human element, the person who's actually doing this. You have the process, and then you have the technology. Okay, VAR is no exception. Okay, the weakest link in the VAR thing is the human element. The technology works, the process works, the human is the person that is the weakest link. All right, so that's point number one. Point number two, when you actually do VAR, you're not actually inventing the entire wheel. You need to bring in the version 2 of VAR. Okay, I know it's been tested and everything. Okay, but you need to bring it in. And the
Premier League, talking about version 2. What do you mean by that?
Version 2 of VAR is the semi-automated version of VAR, the one that you've just been talking about. Okay, it's not only the and you've got to you got to give them some kind of excuse, because the infrastructure behind it is quite big. Okay, and there are a lot of challenges in order to implement it in 20 different grounds. It's not like the World Cup. World Cup is like 8 different grounds and one central system. Everybody's happy. put the technology on. But this technology, this one that Igal is putting on the screen, this technology is not only the VR, it's not only the video thing. Okay, there is something called the LIMS technology, which basically tracks every bit of the player body 25 times a second. Okay, so if your toes is offside, it will come up within 3 seconds, right? So this is the technology that we need. Your challenge is that you have 20 grounds to implement it, and then you have the human side to train, and then you have to test it, and then you have to implement it. Premier League is notorious for being slow in implementing new technologies. It's a very well-known fact.
It's crazy.
FIFA, on the other hand, is the one actually leading the way. They're actually dragging the entire football world.
So is this technology still controlled by a human element then?
No. That picture that you've seen, there's no human in it.
No, it's a drone, right? It's a drone above the stadium that casts green light down, from what I understand.
No, there are so many cameras around the pitch, and what it does, it tracks every bit of the player's body. Okay, and even the pole have a sensor. So once the pole is being kicked, the line is already drawn automatically, and always green until the pole is kicked to somebody in the offside side of is in an offside position. So the next generation of VAR will completely eliminate all those kind of issues that we're having right now.
So you're saying it'll be almost Hawkeye. You're saying it'll be almost like Hawkeye goal line.
Exactly.
Definitively accurate.
The third point that I want to mention, what Igal just mentioned before, I spoken about the process in point number 1. Link it back. I'm just tracking back to it. That the process itself need to change, because you actually need to go and speak to the rugby guys. The rugby guys are great. They actually talk to you. They talk to everybody. They show up why they think this ball is a foul, for example, or this is an offside, or this is maybe a red card or a yellow card. Doesn't matter, but you hear it, and that's that transparency that everybody in the world wants on a football pitch.
They're never gonna mic up the referees, because
Why?
They mic'd up the referees in the 90s and for an Arsenal game, and Tony Adams and stuff were cussing the referees, and they don't want to show that side of
It works
things.
in rugby. It works in
By
rugby.
the way, this was experimented 4 years ago in the Australian league. They were already.
But then can't like I'm sure. I mean, I know the technology is out there where you can selectively have the audio playing, so you don't have to have every single minute of the referee conversations being played on TV. You can mute it, and when for example the VAR is making a decision, that communication can turn on. That's all we got to do. It's not complicated.
You need to hear
They
that.
just use it as all. They want any excuse to not fucking do it. That's all it is.
Yeah, do you know what else?
You need somebody to walk in and go, "Hey Lee, did you draw those fucking lines? Hey Lee, did you draw the lines on the pitch?"
Do you know what else annoys me about VAR at the moment is the referees that actually ref in the game has become lazy. Like, you don't ever see them making the definitive decision. It's always the people who are in the VAR room. I think that
But there's
referees.
someone to do that though.
I think that referees need to be the one. The referee who's actually reffing the game needs to be the one to make the definitive decision, and they should be walking over to the screen more often.
Yeah,
than what they do.
A prime example.
Because there's going to be an injury. There's going to be a serious injury on a definitive offsides play one time where the linesman's been told to hold his flag down. Some guy's going to blow out his ACL, and then they're going to be like, "Well, that play shouldn't have carried on when it was a definitive offside." This is the dumbest shit ever. You've taken the game away from the hands of the officials, and you're right. It's made them completely lazy.
And I'll give you a prime example for how dumb the referee has become. They become. They are very, very dumb right now. I absolutely agree with you. They're taking the lazy route. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, Aston Villa against Sheffield United, Martinez taking the ball itself, and walked into his own goal, past the line, yeah. And because it was crowded around Martinez at that point, the cameras didn't pick up that the ball actually bust the goal, and that game finished 1-1.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the reason that Sheffield United goes down and Aston Villa still in the league.
Can I play devil's advocate though?
Yeah, and even the referee seen it by his own bloody eyes. Okay, but because his watch didn't go, he said, no, I'm not going to take the decision.
Crazy.
Okay,
Well, I want to play devil's advocate. So we had a goal.
And this is the goal line technology.
That was one time Hawkeye failed. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that goal line technology, the way it works is that you have two cameras, one from that side, and one from behind the goal. Okay. And that's how it predicts that the ball passed the line. Right? The cameras didn't pick it up because of the crowded players around it, and the referee didn't whistle. So here you go.
I want to play devil's advocate because there are situations, even like I'll use an Arsenal example before people think I'm trying to deflect from us. We had an Aubameyang goal where Aubameyang continued playing, and they ruled it offside. They'd done a check. I think it was against United. I can't remember what year it was. And then they checked it back, and we actually got given the goal because we continued playing. So, look, there's going to be situations where I feel it's going to get bashed a lot, but there are situations where it's bailed teams out as well in the right way. I'm not saying they've just bailed the team out, but so yeah, it's a tough one, man. I think the best thing is independent panels who don't have anything associated, because even if you look at in Europe they don't actually many referees aren't from that country. Like even in La Liga, the majority of La Liga referees aren't even Spanish, so they have no affiliation with them.
Why do all referees in the Premier League have to be from England?
I have no idea.
That's a big problem.
They don't.
They do. They absolutely do. They
absolutely. That's what I know, but
no, they don't all have to be from England. My point is, I agree with you.
But they are. That's the point he's making.
It's the rule.
They don't have to be, but they are. Yeah.
What is it? Do they have like a presidential type rule where you have to be born in England to ref in England?
It's in the PGMOL rules that the ref.
No, they're not doing that deliberately. But
apparently it's in the rules. Is it actually in the rules?
You have to be English born to ref in the Premier League.
Wait, really? I think
that's why 95% of the PGMOL
isn't that illegal? You can't
that's xenophobic. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Discrimination. That's against the equal opportunity.
Look it up.
Is the Premier League keep talking about?
Bro, that's mental. I can't believe that.
I'm sure it's against employment laws as well. You can't discriminate against
find that for us?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, while he's looking it up, I want to move away from referees and I want to bring it back to the Man City game, right? I'm just going to tell you guys, there's three scenarios, obviously. We can win, go 6 points clear. We could lose, be level on points with City, and they take first place for the first time of the season. And we can draw, and guess what? If Man United win, they're now in the title race. They're actually in the title race now, if Man United win. So and we draw against City. So out of those three case scenarios, the best case scenario is obviously we win, we go 6 points clear. If we win and we go 6 points clear, or we lose and Man City go first, do you feel like that's it? Like if we lose, that's it, City's taking it? Or if we win, do you feel like that's it, we're taking it? Because for me, it's not that simple. I just look at it as if we take the 6 points lead and we beat them at the Emirates, it demoralizes them and it could kickstart our title rise again. If we lose to City, it's not over. 1 second, it's not over. But what it does is it completely demoralizes the team, and it could cause even more of a ripple effect. And all this pressure and everything everyone's talking about will pile on even more, because now we're first time level on points with City.
So basically, what I've found is that you can be foreign born. You can be foreign born and ref in the Premier League, but when you come over to the UK, your referee qualification starts back at 0. So if you are, if you're a USSF referee, level 7, and you come and you have to go back through all of the Premier level training.
So you have to be referee trained within England to ref in England.
At the top level. At the top level.
So what about international tournaments when they had all those foreign referees? They were much better than some of the
I mean, I'm just saying, in the Premier League, you have to go through Premier League training, whether you've been a Serie A ref or an MLS ref. Like, it requires you to basically start at the bottom of the ladder again.
Unbelievable. They must have like some kind of a bridge to bridge your qualification or something like that.
Bro, even doctors
Nonsense.
can practice.
Yeah, so they are
NFL.
basically saying be English born or you're not really going to be a ref. That's their work around it.
It's
Wow.
unbelievable.
It's
Unbelievable.
disgusting, mate. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. No wonder they're so shit and they can't find good refs. Look, I could bring you guys the list of referees that are in the English Premier League and how many games they played this season. The referees with the top games played, we all know as poor referees.
Awesome.
Anyway, Brendan, take it away. What you got to say, bro?
So, yeah, because I'm going to have to jump out in a minute, bro. So I just wanted to answer this question real quick. I think if we lose to City, it's over. And there's a reason why I say that. We've seen Manchester City chase down Liverpool, who were 14 points clear, and go on to win the league. And I just see Man City, although they're not the same Man City as before, they've still got the same players with the same mentality, and they've been there. They've got the know-how. They know how to do it. I think if they beat us on Wednesday and they go top, I think that's where they will remain. And then, like you say, it all depends then. Does it have a detrimental effect on our mentality and how we deal with it, considering that would be 2 losses and a draw in a row, which is not good form for Arsenal at all. So I don't see losing or a draw as an option for Arsenal. We have to win this game. If we're to win this league, we have to win this game because, yes, we've got a game in hand over Manchester City, but I believe that isn't till like March time, and we could be out of the running by then if we lose this game. So we have to win this game. It's at the Emirates.
You know what? I'm just going to show you something.
It's at the Emirates. I expect us to win this game.
Anthony Taylor is the referee of the game. Assistant referee on VAR is David Coates.
And John Brooks just got taken off that because of his error against Brighton. That was supposed to be John Brooks.
Yeah. Just to show you, David Coates also is the guy who's the 4th official today in the Liverpool-Everton game. The Man City game, you know what? Some of these referees, you guys know, as shit, like Craig Pawson, the guy, we've seen what happened in that game. We know how bad Craig Pawson is.
Neil Swarbrick, too.
Peter Bakes is not that bad. It's all Lee Mason on this one. And why is the assistant VAR referee not also getting involved? This one here, guess who's John Brooks, obviously, and Michael Oliver's not to blame on this situation when it comes down to it. Then you have another poor referee, Stuart Atwell. You guys know what happened. You guys know what happened in that game, right? Where's the Wolves game? Paul Tierney, VAR referee in the Wolves game. You see all the coincidence. Is it a coincidence? Mike Dean involved in the Spurs game, even though they won 4-1, they had a situation where something went down in their game also. So
why was Lamina given the second yellow by Jared Gillette? Why was after 3 players run at him? Why does he look at Lamina and give Lamina the second yellow? That's, I mean, like, come on, man. Like,
listen, my point is, these crop of Premier League referees are not going to change. They're not going nowhere. They're going
especially with that stupid rule, Dane.
They're not going nowhere. These guys are protected to a massive level. Say my name. Go fuck yourself, Lee Mason. You're getting blocked.
A waste of an account.
Yeah, he's getting blocked. Anyways,
kick him out.
No,
I tell you what, give him a red card.
You know what?
It's
Yeah,
also.
that was
It's
hard.
also.
You know, I'm blocking.
I don't want to be talking about referees on Wednesday either. I know it's a big game and I know it's going to be a tough game and that. But it's up to us to do our job to make sure we're not reliant on what refereeing decisions happen. And this is where we failed against Brentford, you know, because it's
Brendan, no one complaining about the refereeing decisions after the game because of the result. It's because the incompetence, and they've actually come out and said we've made a mistake.
Yeah, 100%, and rightly so. They should be apologising for that, and that they are incompetent. But they're not only incompetent in Arsenal games. This is what I'm saying. It's the same for everyone. But the point is Wednesday is a huge game. Huge game. We cannot afford to lose or draw that game. We have to win. It's at the Emirates. We're going to have the crowd behind us. We must win that game. All these players that have had average performances over the last 2 weeks need to brush it under the carpet and find their form again. And I expect Mikel Arteta to do what is necessary to make sure we win this game as well.
Anthony Taylor is also from Manchester, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. And
They're all
wasn't
my
he- wasn't
brothers.
he the one that
All
got
my
Wenger?
Mancunian brothers.
Yep. And
Stop,
wasn't he the one that got?
taking the piss out of them.
This is who only Michael Oliver is the only one that's from Newcastle. What are these guys? Peter
John
what?
Moss isn't in the league anymore, and I don't know who that guy is.
Who the hell's that
Look
guy?
at that Manchester representing. Come on now.
Leicester have this guy. Birmingham have 2. Bristol have 3. That's the closest, really. The Bristol guys.
Yeah, but is Kevin Friend? I don't know who the other 2 are, and then Mariners from Birmingham, and then every single one of the rest of them is from Manchester.
Look at Paul Tierney's ugly face.
Tierney, Atkinson, Pawson, all of them.
You know what? I'm not going to look at them anymore. It just pisses me off. Look, forget about the referees. The scenario is draw, and we're still 3 points clear. Lose, and we're level on points, second in the league. Win, we go 6 points clear, and with a game in hand. I think the massive opportunity. I think this game is a must-win game. We lose this game, potentially could be catastrophic to our league campaign. And I am nervous. I'm excited. I don't know what to say, but we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up in a couple minutes. I just want to know what you guys think is gonna happen, and what and are you guys concerned if we do lose that we're not gonna win this league? Brendan, I'll let you go first. Actually,
You want me first? Sorry.
No, Brendan. I'll go. Brendan. Saeed.
Go
You
ahead.
gotta go, Saeed.
Yeah, no, like I said, if we lose this game, we're not winning the league. It's as simple as that. It's as cut and dry as that. Manchester City have the know-how. They have the players that have been there, done it, seen it. They chased down Liverpool when there was 14 points clear. Yes, it's not the same Man City, but they still have that winning mentality. Our players haven't been there and done that before. The only 2 that have is Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. Yes, Jorginho, you could say, he's won a Champions League. He's never won a Premier League though, so he doesn't have that. It's not the same. You know what I mean? It's a 38 game period. You got to be consistent. And like you said earlier, if we lose this game, it could have a detrimental effect on our season as well, and where we're at in terms of our mentality. So drawing and losing is not an option for me. It's got to be a win. It's at the Emirates. I expect to win that game, bro.
What's your prediction?
Anyone who's saying I would take a draw, City fans would take a draw. Not Arsenal.
What's your prediction, B?
Prediction. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Anyways, Brendan, big up, bro. Really do appreciate you jumping through. Saeed, talk to me. What are you saying?
I think we have to win. Okay, but even if we lose, it's not a disaster. It's not the end of the world. You still have time to, you still have so many games. You can't just give up now. Okay, you're in the title race. You're leading the Premier League until now, from week 1 to until now. You can't just give up. There's no giving up on this, right? Even if you lost this game and even the next game, you're still in the title race. You can't just give up. So listen, I think and you gotta remember, last season we were not that team that we actually are today. Okay, and we gave them a really, really very tough game. And if it wasn't for that red card for Gabriel, we would win that game. Okay, so you're at the Emirates. You're gonna be on fire, and I think we're gonna win. I believe that we're gonna win. Maybe 1-0 or I don't know, but we're gonna win.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound crazy to you guys. Everton and Brentford are going to have given us a tougher game than we're going to receive against City the next day, because City are going to let us play football. City are not going to make it difficult for us defensively like Brentford and Everton have. We are actually going to see much more of Arsenal, and we're going to be recognizing our team a little bit more against City than we did in the last two games, because the last two games was solely defensively masterclasses from those two teams, and they weren't worrying about attack. City are going to be pressing us. Brentford and Everton did not press us. City and these guys are not going to give us the ball. We're going to have to take it from them and hold on to it. These other two teams gave us the ball and said, we're going to park the bus. We're going to find ourselves in better numerical advantages against City than we would against these other two teams. I'm more confident going into this game. This is why I want Trossard to start. Trossard needs to start. I don't care if it's in striker position. I don't care if it's in the left wing. Start Trossard. Big game player, has scored against City this season, scored a hat-trick against Liverpool, brace versus United, scored against Tottenham, scored against Arsenal last season. He has to play. And overall, I'm going to save my prediction. Actually, I've already said my prediction on numerous channels. 2-1. Reason being, I think it's going to be an open game. I think it's going to be extremely open, and I think we catch them, they catch us, and at the end of the day, we're at home, we see ourselves through. This whole thing about City, they're good, but they haven't been good enough for majority of the season. They're vulnerable. We can catch them. Just because they beat Aston Villa, it wasn't a convincing win. It was 3-1, but they were very wasteful.
I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to say it. If Haaland plays, we win. If Alvarez plays, we lose.
Wow.
Why is that?
Because Julian Alvarez is a monster, and that kid will play the game. He will play the game where he dips and dives in between Magalhaes and he dips and dives in between Saliba, and he plays the role that we all like to see Gabriel Jesus, where he's not stuck in the center. I think we can put our two monster center backs on Haaland and hold up. He may get a goal, that's fine. But if he plays, it's 2-1 Arsenal. If Alvarez plays, I see potential for 2-2, possibly even 3-2 to City. I just think Alvarez is a difference maker. And I think Alvarez and Mahrez are more dangerous than a focus on Erling Haaland.
That is controversial. Wow. Let me know what you guys think, people.
How is it controversial?
It's not controversial. It's actually such a popular. It should be a popular take.
Alvarez is a better.
I say it's a cold take. I don't even think it's a hot take. It's actually
no, but to say the guy who's leading goal scorer in Europe.
Yeah, but that's disguised. That's like papering over a lot of crap.
I think I know where
all that, man.
I think I know where he comes from, guys, because obviously Haaland is, you know how to play him, but and he situates himself within that kind of like two center backs. Okay, and don't forget the last game we gave him our center back.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name. Bloody hell.
Rob Holding.
Yeah.
Look, we have
we'll
a
give him
CT
Holding
here.
last time. This time we'll give him Saliba and Gabriel. So it's a bit of a different game.
And Thomas Partey.
Thomas Partey. At the same time, Alvarez, as he said, he comes from behind. He drops between the lines. He goes right and left. So he's a bit more of a handful to deal with.
1 second.
Tactically, but not physically. Haaland is much more physical and stronger. So
Mohammed Aziz, if you want to come on and challenge us, you can come on. This is a call-in show. There's a link. You don't have to show your face. You can come on and challenge our opinion. As he's saying, we haven't been good because Pep has been experimenting and tinkering way too much with the back line and with the midfield as well. And then he says, "Oh my God, who are these guys?"
Listen. Can I tell you something, right? It's funny when things like this come to fruition, me and Devo are never going to get the credit for it, because I've been saying a lot of what I'm saying for a long time. I said, look, Haaland will go and break the record. There's no doubting it, because there's not enough teams with the quality to stop Haaland. But I've said this before and people laughed at it, and I go, it's not hard to stop Haaland. That's not the hard part. It's stopping City from utilizing him. Haaland is a one-dimensional striker. I've said it before.
Poacher.
Do you know Man City's issue is the fact they have to play him. If they don't play him, they blitz this league. They blitz it with Alvarez. There is no question who wins this league. The only thing that Haaland will do for City is potentially win them the Champions League, because that is fine margins. That is when you need that one chance, that half a chance to go in. That's when Haaland, you know what I've said? Haaland's your perfect plan B, but he's never your plan A. And that's the type of striker he is. People can call it controversial, but I'll tell you one thing. I've said it before we played them. I'm not worried. I said it. If you go back and look at my tweets, I actually said advantage Arsenal, Haaland starting. And I said it whilst we knew Rob Holding was starting. And I'll tell you why, because one thing Rob Holding did was he stuck it on him early. He stuck it on Haaland. And I'll tell you what, I went to the game. So for people who don't know, and I had a third-tier view of it. So I was watching it bird eyes, and I was watching Haaland. Every minute of that game, the guy was pissed off. He wasn't getting the ball. He wasn't, and he dropped deep in that game. If people go watch the City game back, you'll see Haaland tried doing the deep play and coming into midfield. And guess what happened? Every time he tried making a pass, it was a missed pass. So he's not hard to stop. The thing is, look, he will score. That's not what I'm questioning. People get into this sort of hyper-analyzing of each word that someone uses and go, yeah, but you're saying it's easy, so he can't score. No, he can, because I've said he's a great finisher. He's a great finisher.
Great coacher. He's a fox.
What you do, you starve the line. You starve the creativity that Kevin De Bruyne can bring in. Now they don't have Cancelo, so that's another element gone.
Bernardo Silva.
What can you do? What's he going to do? Come from the halfway line, take the ball like an Alvarez, like a Gabriel Jesus, a Trossard, someone like even a Darwin Núñez can do, right? He can't take that ball from the halfway line, run at the defense, and make something happen for himself when the game is that tight. So that's all I've got to say. I'm not scared. You know what? I've said it to City fans. Bring me Haaland, and I'll show you how to stop him.
Wow. I just responded to the guy comparing Haaland and Alvarez. I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm sorry. I can't come on right now. I have to get up for a job. It's late. Maybe next time. Big up. No worries. For now, we're going to wrap it up. I'm just going to say this, guys. It's been a good one. Hopefully we can do it again next week after we've beaten City and we're 6 points clear and we're just kicking back, relaxing. Because in my opinion, if we drop points to City, it could be an avalanche. We face Unai Emery next.
We're calm.
Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you Gunners. Come on, you Gunners. Go on, go
Let's
and
get it. Let's get it. People, you have yourselves a wonderful day. Stop scapegoating Jorginho and have yourselves a good one.